Hello, boys and girls. Hello, Twitch. Hello,
Hi.
YouTube. And welcome, Leonard.
Hi.
Here we are. And could it be a better time to actually start a podcast? I don't think so. So here we are, starting with our first episode of the YPFL talk.
Yeet.
And let's just
Yeet.
quickly explain what it is. It's like, as I already said, a podcast. So you cannot actually see us, but you can hear us and just listen to our voices on the side. And it is a perfect time to start a podcast because we just had the biggest event of Europe in European Yu-Gi-Oh history in last weekend.
Actually, two events, but
Düsseldorf. Yeah, exactly. Actually,
we'll get to that later, I guess.
Yeah, I'll just quickly guide you through the topics we have for today. So as you can already see on the screen, we will talk about Düsseldorf. We will just do an event recap. So talk about the things that happened, talk about the really special things that happened, and talk about some of our things we did this weekend. And then also, as you can see on the screen, we will have a special guest, a pro player staring, and it's Jonas Koschel, who will join us for some deep analysis of his weekend. And as you all know, he made second place this weekend. And then as well, you can see we have a quick spell category, which is basically a nice little quiz. And Leonard designed some really interesting questions, I would say.
Yeah, I'd say so too.
To ask to our guests, and he will try his best to answer them as quickly as possible. And also we have another category which is called Counter Trap, which will be 10 questions. And as you cannot react to counter traps, we won't say anything to them, and we will just let you hear the answers our pro player Jonas has for you. So I would say let's just dive into it, or shall we?
Yeah, I think that would be kind of a nice idea.
So let's start with Düsseldorf.
Yeah, what an event, dude. What an event.
Oh, wow. It was amazing, right? Like the sheer number of players. Like,
wasn't that amazing, to be honest.
Maybe for some people it wasn't. Like, how did you do at YCS Düsseldorf? 1 or 2?
This question is as if you didn't know. So, like, me and my driver, shout outs to Marcel Borri, we were kind of late for day one. We didn't pre-register. So we arrived like at 9:30, which should be like 1 hour left until the tournament starts or the registration closes. Unfortunately, we were too late to register because also of the terrible parking situation that was caused by the football game.
Absolutely. Fortuna Düsseldorf, the local football club. Yeah.
So we were late. And I got a text message from many people like, yeah, you screwed up, dude. You can't play. And I was like, yeah, that kind of sucks. But eventually I also got a message that they were still looking for judges for the event. So I was like, yeah, might as well, right? I'm not going to play a regional there. At least I'm earning something and I have something like good to do. And it can't hurt for your career as a caster.
Obviously not. No.
Like, also judge. Maybe I want to judge more events. Like the job itself was actually kind of fun. I was a lot more competent than I thought. So
let's just quickly talk about the general situation that came up there, because most people probably know that what happened there. But you said you were late, and normally there is no being late for YCS because such an event is just uncapped and everybody can get into the event and play. But this time, actually, the location had a player attendance cap, and that was set at 2,400 players, or around 2,400 players. And that meant they couldn't enter more people into the tournament.
That is indeed true.
If you were looking at the line that was still standing there when there were already 2,400 people registered for that event, you saw that there were 600 additional people standing in the line and will to play Yu-Gi-Oh this weekend, and they just traveled there to play this YCS. And so it probably was like some kind of a miscalculation by Konami, because they should have thought like when will there be a big attendance number, if not in Düsseldorf, because Düsseldorf is super easy to reach for all the people in Europe.
Yeah,
and
the
also
international
they bring people
airport.
from abroad. And so 3,000 people definitely wasn't the numbers they expected, I would say.
Nope.
But so that was a miscalculation by them. But on the other hand, I have to say the solution they found in like a very spontaneous way was absolutely superb. I have to say that was really, really, really well done by them, just setting up a second YCS.
Yeah.
And that made a lot of people very happy, I think.
Yeah, this is what I figured. I was like, to kind of finish my story.
Yeah, please.
I was going there to judge like 10 minutes before they announced the second YCS.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had to go over to the second YCS and judge there. So actually, that wasn't too much fun because I was split up with most of my friends, sadly.
Yeah.
So it was, but I made new friends and I had like also pretty cool people there, so that was fine. But I have never experienced a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament that is that chill, because everyone was so thankful and happy that they could eventually play a YCS. So no one would really get mad. And I think like usually when you judge, like there's always one player who's mad about your decision, or later in the tournament everyone is going to appeal your decision.
Yeah.
That didn't happen to me once. Like people were so happy about just playing the game. It was insane. It was such a nice atmosphere, and I think it was probably much cooler than YCS 1.
Yeah, it might have been. And I mean, the first attempt they tried was, we will give everybody in the chain the opportunity to play a free mega regional. And I was like, I wouldn't be happy with a free mega regional. I came here to play on the highest level of competition, on YCS level, and it was absolutely cool that they could have that opportunity, even though it was just 600 players in the second YCS.
Yeah.
But I mean, back in the days, there were YCSs with like such a low attendance number, and it's like just today, it's not enough anymore, right? The numbers just get bigger and bigger and bigger.
But I think like the second YCS wasn't necessarily easier to top. It was like just 600 people, but it was still, you had to go X11 in 9 rounds, which isn't easy at all.
Definitely.
While you could go like, I think there was like even 1 or 2 X3s that entered the top 64 cut. Is that possible?
I think you reached it with X3 and it was like 5 to 6 people, or maybe 7.
Yeah, that is like, I think that was easier to top than YCS 1, where you just had a top 16 cut out of 9 rounds, which is like really, really hard to reach.
Yeah, that's true. And also it was like, it's kind of a trend with accomplished players that they are waiting for registration to happen to see what decks are registering and what decks are in the room, let's say. And so they wait until the last moment to register. So their deck is perfectly fixed for the actual format of the tournament. And so it happens that a lot of these players, really good players, did not make it into the first YCS. So the second YCS actually had some quite big names, I would say.
Yeah, that is true. I think like there were many CCG players as well, which eventually played off against each other. Like I saw Christopher Nielsen and Jawad play against each other. Nielsen, I think none of them entered the top cut. Luke Parks was also there. I think they got thrown out of the tournament quite easily. A special shout out at this point to the Draco player in the top cut, David Maria Schäfer. At this point, good friend of mine. What I found interesting is that the tournament, which was like expected to be not that Sky Strikery, was won by Sky Striker, and also the first of Swiss, the undefeated Swiss player, Philipp Weidinger, also played Sky Strikers.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Now, like, it's kind of a bad thing for Tobias Sommerfeld, who actually won YCS2, that there was a much bigger YCS happening next door, because now everybody's just talking about YCS1 because it was a big event, the biggest European YCS ever. And so he's like a little bit in the shadow, but I mean, still he can claim himself to be a YCS champion, and I surely would congratulate him to that. And he actually is a
course.
player from Berlin, which is pretty cool. So I'm very happy for him. But let's just talk about the metagame of YCS. I would say we talk about the metagame of YCS 1, I would say, because it was just a bigger one, and so a much more representative one.
Yeah, all right. I see. So let's just go through the overall deck choices of all the people, I think.
Yeah, please.
So we have Salamangreat, the new big deck. The new deck that reminds everyone of Monarchs, not because the playstyle is similar, but because it's a structured deck.
Yeah, because it's so budget, yeah.
Yeah. So 364 there, 265 Thunder Dragons. I felt like the deck just fell out of I'm lacking
out of
the
favor,
word.
yeah.
Yeah, out of favor so quickly. Like a week ago or a week and a half before Salamangreat was released, like everyone was all over the deck. And now people could easily play more hand traps, which kind of hurts the deck. So moving on downwards the list, we have 186 Sky Striker Pure. And then something that I really like is that the fourth place of decks is Trickstar, actually.
I don't really like that because I'm one of the 129 Trickstar players that entered the event. And I didn't do very well, sadly. I scrubbed out pretty hard. But still, I thought it's a good choice for the event too. And 128 players agreed on that. But I think YCS Düsseldorf 1 didn't have a single Trickstar deck in the top cut, right?
Really?
I saw a lot of deck profiles and I didn't see a single Trickstar actually.
Well, we will see that next when we enter the
right.
deck breakdown. Yeah. Like, I don't think we need to talk about the rest of the roguish stuff.
Not really. It's just to note that Salamangreat was really big.
Yeah. One thing I would like to say, True Draco. I found the idea of playing True Draco surprisingly powerful because they could main deck like Floodgates that completely shut out the Salamangreat deck.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
There can only be one, and Summon Limit are really good. Also, like the Counter Trap is not necessarily the best versus True Draco because, like, if you open like with a Counter Trap and maybe like one or two hand traps, which could be like Valor. I mean, like Ash is the only really strong card against the deck, considering hand traps. And you have like Phantasmace and Impermanence's main deck and Valor. Like, it seems like the matchup should be heavily in True Draco's favor.
I agree. Surely. But also, like, some of the other Floodgates True Draco is playing, like Ghost Match or Rivalry, are just so bad against Salamangreat, which is the most represented deck, which I think is, like, kind of hard.
And but people cut on those, right? Like,
yeah, they have to.
Like, they still play Monarch's Erupt, which is also insane against the deck. Like, Monarch's Erupt is unfair. It's
true.
So crazy.
3 additional skill drains, that's right. Yeah, but let's just hop into the top 64 deck breakdown, yeah?
Yeah, sure. Okay.
So the number is even more outstanding now because in top 64 we had 28 Salamangreats. So that is nearly 50%.
Yeah, that's really hard.
That's really impressive.
That is dominant.
Pure domination, yeah, for sure. And a lot of the top players actually played this deck. And we will talk to Jonas later. He actually played the deck as well.
Yeah.
And so maybe he can give us some more insight into the choice there as well. And it just seemed to be the best pick for the event.
Yeah, maybe not. Like, if you look at the numbers, Danger Orchest was just there twice. And like both players ended up in the top 4.
Top 4. Yeah, they played each other top 4. Maybe they would have even made it to the finals if they wouldn't have had to play in top 4, right?
Yeah, but didn't you say something about?
Yeah, I was wondering that too.
Playing...
I checked the standings, and actually, Thomas Rose played his teammate Chao Ping in top 64. So I think their statistics aren't quite correct because I played Ping Chao in Swiss, and he actually played the same deck as Thomas Rose. And they faced each other in top 64, so there were at least 3 Danger Orchests actually in the field.
You can also see the look into the deck profile of Ping Xiao. on the page of Team Greebro. So yeah, this seems to be wrong, Konami.
Oh, and we found that out.
Busted.
Live on air.
Yeah. That is nice.
So but that third Danger Orcus just went out because he actually had to play his teammate in top 64. So
yeah, and I think that mirror match is kind of painful to play. It's like basically just a die roll.
Yeah, did you see that top 4 featured match between Thomas Rose and Dinkabui? It was painful to watch because it was a mirror match. And Thomas Rose won the dice roll, and he did his other top combo turn 1. And Dinkabui just scooped. Game 2, Dinkabui did his combo, and Thomas just scooped. And game 3, Thomas did his combo, and I think Dinkabui actually summoned one of the Orcus, equipped it with one of his equipped spells, and then conceded. So it was like still nothing really.
Yeah, I see no MC Pro 555 said Kaz deck wasn't considered Orcus, it was counted as Dark Warrior.
Yeah,
so that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely true. Okay, so maybe it wasn't a mistake, but it still was an Orcus deck in some way. He played Orcus cards. So let's talk about the other decks. It's like Thunder Dragons and Sky Striker Pure came a little bit closer together. Thunder Dragons actually had 10 spots in top 64, and Sky Striker had 9 spots. So Sky Striker made up some ground on Thunder Dragons there.
Yeah.
And that's kind of interesting, I think, because obviously everybody thought Sky Striker is kind of falling out of favor. But because of the rise of Salamangreat, Sky Striker now seems to be a little bit more popular again. Because obviously Sky Striker isn't really good against Thunder Dragons, but it is pretty good against Salamangreat because it can win the grind game in a lot of cases.
Yeah, dude.
So maybe it was a better choice to play a Sky Striker for the event than to play Thunder Dragons.
I think so too. Like, Thunder Dragons can be easily interrupted by hand traps, and like Salamangreat lives off of hand traps. So
yeah, surely, absolutely. Yeah. Do we, Alink? We have a category for a podcast, so let's just try to stick to our categories we made up, and you can see on the screen. So the deck of the week. I mean, what could be the deck of the week, huh?
I think it should be Salamangreat.
It has to be Salamangreat, yeah. The sheer numbers of this deck just make it to be the deck of the week.
Yeah, and people haven't even kind of really figured it out. Like sometimes, I mean, you have seen like the development of Sky Striker builds throughout the time, right? Like 2 or 3 weeks after the deck got released, like the builds changed so hard. And maybe this is going to happen with Salamangreat as well. Like the deck can only be better now.
Yeah. Because the players find out new and better tech cards for the deck and so on, I definitely agree. It's just so consistent, the deck. It does not need a whole lot, and it has so much space to actually fit in other very good cards. I actually, for example, I saw the deck profile of Raphael Naven, who made top 16 again this event, and he actually said, I'm playing all the Salamangreat cards, but you actually do not really want to draw the Salamangreat cards. You want to draw the other powerful cards in your deck.
Yeah, that is true. The Salamangreat engine is just like very repetitive in the sense that you have it once and then you will have it again for any turn that you're going to play in the game.
Exactly.
So you just want to draw your, I don't know, artifact sanctums. You want to draw your Phantasme because the card is insane. We'll talk about that later. You're just basically hoping to have like 1 or 2 Salamangreat cards and then draw your Cult by the Graves, all the stuff that help you actually win the game so you can OTK with your Salamangreat engine.
Yeah, right. So the Salamangreat is just very, very solid, and it just allows you to do so many other things on the side.
Yeah. That is
really, really good.
Yeah, you can push for damage. You can like even cards like Red Reboot fit so well into the deck because you can stop your opponent from like stopping you basically. So you can just plow through, and you can even like shuffle back all the back row. You can use Phoenix in your combo because it's a fire monster. You can summon 2 Heatleos to shuffle back trap cards. The deck can go for full control mode against spell trap decks, and the deck can also OTK so easily with the fusion of fire, which can also be played like in multiple copies, not as a random brick one-off, but in the mirror match. If you like hard draw it, you basically won the game because your opponent has to negate it. Otherwise, his negate is first of all disabled, and second, his entire board is gone and he dies. And the card has an interesting wording saying that the card can only be activated once and not used. So if the activation is negated by the opponent's Salamangreat Roar, you can just add it back with Sunlight Wolf and then activate it again to summon your 5,000 attack monster.
Yeah, that's one of the easy ruling questions, right? You could have had this weekend.
Yeah,
because it says only activated once, and when the activation is negated, you can obviously activate it again. Yeah, so let's just transition to our next category, which is our Team of the Week. And actually, not a player playing the Salamangreat deck won the event, so I think we should actually give the Team of the Week title to another team. What do you think?
Team Cerebros, I'd say.
Yeah, let's give it to them. Because not only Thomas Rose took down the event. Round of applause. I agree, surely.
Yeah. And also, it's not just the players that were great at this YCS. Also, Daniel Neville cast for the first time, or a YCS for the first time, and he did a great job as well. Have you seen the Zodiac picture of him with his basically perfectly tied knot?
Oh yeah, absolutely. People loved that.
Yeah. So,
and he even reacted to that, saying, "Yeah, tomorrow I will try another variant of my knot," and he was like really into that. And I think he's just in general a pretty style-affine guy, and he just likes to do that, and it was really cool. And yeah, so he did a very wonderful job. And then also, as we said, Ping Chao actually topped the YCS too.
Yeah. Exactly. And then he got out because of his bad teammate, Tom Rose.
Yeah. And, I mean, speaking about Tom Rose, obviously there's only one possibility to be the player of the week, and it has to be Thomas Rose.
Do you think there's only one possibility?
I mean, he took it down. He's just the champion of the whole event. And
that is true.
There's
not
just...
He
has to be the number one spot, I think, because he just took down the event, even though he might not. He's not really the winner of the hearts, because actually Jonas did kind of bad in the finals. He just made like a mistake, I would say, or like a lot of people would say.
Yeah, he's probably going to answer our questions about that later on.
Yeah. We'll talk about that with him.
I think why Jonas would be my choice of player of the week or player of the month or player of the year is because he topped 8 out of the last 10 Premier events. And he only got to 32. Like, he never got kicked out early in the top cut, except for London, where he played FTK, and then he got kicked out of it in top 32. But otherwise, he's always in top 8, top 4 finals. It's insane. This guy is so consistent and so great, and like even an amazing opponent. If you have ever played against him, he's really kind.
Yeah, for sure. He's a very good guy. But let's get back to our champion of the week, which is Thomas Rose.
Yeah.
And let's talk about his deck, because he played Danger Orcus, as we already said. And before our call now, we talked about his list, because we just saw it. And he was playing a very interesting deck approach. And he was saying, I wasn't able to actually play BA anymore, because sadly, after the ban of Snow, it's not good enough anymore to compete in the metagame.
Mm-hmm.
But he said he took a similar approach to YCS Liverpool, which was the first YCS he won. And in that event, he actually main decked a lot of side deck cards as well, because he was saying, my deck, the Danger Orcus deck, which can pull off the Azathoth combo turn 1, already is so strong going first. So why not just put in a lot of going second cards? So if you have to go second, you're very well prepared for that, and you can still take some games from auto FTK decks like the Mirror Match or Summon Dragons or so.
Yeah, you just go for a Kaijus and Pancratops, and then you can just beat them up.
Yeah, right. So he played 48 cards, which seems like a lot.
Yeah, in Liverpool he played 51. Did you know that?
Really? I didn't know that.
He played over
really
50 cards.
He should probably just stick to these numbers, to these odd big numbers.
This guy seems to not be able to cut cards out of his main deck. And I'm not gonna go down to 40.
Definitely not, no. But he just showed Europe and the whole world that he's not just able to play BA. And I mean, he chopped a lot with BA, but this time he brought his Orcus deck to the table. And it was kind of funny. He talked about his top 64 match versus his teammate, Ping Chao. And he beat Ping, obviously. And then Ping said something like, yeah, I told you all I have, so just go on and win the whole thing. And so he did.
Yeah, eventually he did.
Yeah, really, really cool story. And very, very friendly interactions in that team, I think.
Yeah.
Very nice team. Very good results from them this weekend, and obviously a title under their belt.
Yeah, you can't argue versus that, right? They gotta get this spot for the top team.
Yeah, they have to.
All right, so
yeah,
before we get into the player interview, we still have one last topic, which is the card of the week, and I think it is pretty safe to say that it is the most expensive card of the tournament.
Absolutely, yeah.
Fantastic Dragon Phantasme was kind of underrated in Europe before the YCS started. We have seen it in a few deck lists, not in everything, which basically happened in the top cut then. Like everyone and their mother were running the card.
Yeah.
And like the card is such an aggressive tool. Even like people consider it a hand trap, which I think is wrong, because
I agree.
I mean, it gives you the chance to draw into a head trap, and it's not really defensive. It like kind of starts to set up your board with which you want to OTK your opponent afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Phantasma just fixes your hand for going second, shuffles away your bricks like your artifact side or your traps of the Salamangreat, which you don't want to see necessarily when you're going second and your opponent starts well. It protects you versus Sky Strikers, which is also amazing because your opponent plays with like basically one anchorless. And the card is just so insane. And it even sold out for 90 euros at the vendors. Yeah, like on day 1 or day 0, as I like to call it. This card deserves to be the card of the week, I think.
Yeah, and as you said, it's like we both had to get this card before the event. I mean, you did not really have to because, I mean, for judging, you wouldn't have needed it.
Yeah, that's true.
Joke's on me. But we both got the card before the event, and we were both like, oh shit, we have to spend like $70 a piece for that card, but it's just necessary because we both agreed that the card is really good and that we have to play it. And now we're back from the YCS and we're like, hey, we did a good investment because now the card is actually 80 euros on Card Market at least.
That is true. And I, by the way, didn't buy it for 90. I wouldn't have done that, actually.
No, that's true. We both made a good investment. I think you bought it for like 75 a piece and I did it like for 70 a piece. So we did a kind of good job.
And mine are American prints, so...
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, also, at that point, we could probably just give a shout-out to our sponsors, Card Market, right now, because obviously they're sponsoring the Card Sports League and also this podcast in particular. So shout-outs to Card Market right there.
I'm holding my thumbs up, but you guys can't see that because there's no camera. I'm not really used to that.
Yeah, that is the principle of a podcast, I would say. Just hearing our voices right now. Yeah. So, what do you think of getting in our guest Jonas now?
Yeah, I think so too. So, Jonas K. Koschel, are you ready to enter this call?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey!
Hello, Jonas.
Nice to be here.
Nice to have you in.
Hey man, congratulations to your second place at YCS Düsseldorf.
Yeah, thanks.
Absolutely. Huge congratulations. Very, very well deserved.
So what we would like to hear from you or our viewers as well, what can you give us a little tournament recap, like basically round for round, maybe like a small recap of YCS Düsseldorf for you?
Yeah, whenever I go to a YCS, I just try to register on Saturday. But this time, I always try to get to the registration at like 10 when it's closing. So yeah, this didn't work in Düsseldorf. So I had to register at 8 a.m. because they said there are only 500 spots left. So I just registered for the first time, like immediately. Yeah, that was like the pre-tournament experience for me. And my first round actually was a feature match, and my last round was a feature match as well, obviously. And I played a lot of different and some weird decks, and like a lot of different play styles, and a lot of cool players as well. So, overall, I think the YCS and the format we're in right now is really good because there are so many different decks you can play, and no deck is like really just straight up better than everything else. So I think this format and the YCS was really, really good. Yeah, so I believe in total I played against 2 Subterrors and 3 Thunder Dragon Danger, 1 Pure Thunder Dragon, 4 Sky Striker, and a Guard Dragon deck, and ABC Danger, and the rest was Salaman Great decks. So yeah, in total of the 18 rounds, I guess. Yeah, 18 rounds. It was
seems correct.
the most played deck was Salaman Great, but in Swiss I only played like 4, and then later on I played another 4, I believe.
So what was your standing after Swiss?
After Swiss, I was X2, and I lost only 2 mirror matches with Salaman Great, 1 to Rafael Neven, and the other mirror match I lost to the guy who came first after Swiss.
Yeah. So would you say that what would you say about the Salaman Great mirror match?
I think the mirror is really cool because it's not the best, but it's not as bad as the Thunder Dragon mirror as for example, because sometimes you can't just win in a Thunder Dragon mirror. It's almost impossible. But yeah, you can like try to time your hand traps and use them on the right thing. And even going second is fine. And the only thing you can't really beat game 1 is Sanctum. So like there were many people playing Sanctum, but like there's not much you can do if they open Sanctum and Raw, because then they just negate the 1 out for Sanctum, which is Ash in most of the main decks. So yeah, that's like the win button for most people in a mirror match.
Why did you decide to not play that?
I thought I came to the conclusion that the deck is already good going first. Like if you go first, you just get to set up, and like worst case you just get a setup and a play for the next turn, and in the best case you get a counter trap or just the other trap, the rage, to interrupt your opponent, and you try to stop them with hand traps and like your traps, and most of the time they can't even break your board, and if they do, you can just summon the gazelle you added back in the turn before and go on from there and do exactly the same thing, or like almost the same thing again.
Yeah, so did you actually expect that many Salaman Great players in the tournament? Was that your expectation?
Yeah, just because the deck is pretty cheap. I thought like, because the Danger Thunder Dragon deck is really expensive.
That's true.
Yeah, so I was like, yeah, I guess people will play that deck, and for me it was doing really well on testing, so that was another reason for playing it and expecting many mirror matches.
Yeah, of course. And another question, do you think it's a disadvantage to play the round 1 feature match? Because you already stated that out.
Like, I think it's weird because this time I think I was really prepared, and I was confident when playing the deck. But usually I'm just picking up my decks at Friday night and don't really know, just get to play and learn the deck from round 1 on. But this time I think it was okay. Yeah.
But also it's like kind of weird because everybody in the room basically knows what deck you're playing from that point on, right?
That's right. So that might be a disadvantage, but even then people didn't know what I was playing, so yeah, it's whatever. And like winning in the future matches are like cool.
In this format, like, it basically doesn't really matter if people know what you're playing, because people will usually want to go first. Like, even the Danger Orcus decks, which were known to be OTK-ish with Sackaslight, tend to start the games now with Everthought, so...
Yeah,
absolutely. You're right.
But like, the only difference for me was if I know my opponent's playing some weird OTK, Orcus, or some deck that relies on the graveyard. The only different thing is you might think about making Dweller. So because that's like the game plan, to not die and then get a turn and get rid of the board and win from there.
Yeah, I mean Dweller is also fine in the Salmon Great Mirror match, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what would you say, what was your hardest match for the whole weekend? Let's say besides the finals for now.
I think I had some really good matches and intense matches. I can't exactly say which one was the hardest, because there were so many really close games, and even if they are like hard and close, they were still fun to play. And that's because it was back and forth in so many different games. So it was really fun playing the event, like more fun than usual.
I mean, obviously you came to the finals, so it's a little more.
Do you understand him, Jonas?
I didn't. No.
No. Okay. So, let me just ask you a question then.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So
I think
we are experiencing some slight technical difficulties as always.
I think you're used to it.
Yeah, we pretty much are. Skype always like plays with us.
Getting out in top 32 or so. Can you hear me actually?
Yeah, now we can hear you, Basti.
Ah, cool.
Okay, so you wanted to ask something.
Yeah, I just said, shall we just go into our quick spell segment
yes.
now?
Okay, so as I can hear some lagging from Sebastian.
Let me just quickly explain that.
Okay.
That's sad.
Okay, Basti, do you want to explain the game?
Yeah, surely.
Well, go ahead then.
I think we've lost them.
So our quick spell segment actually means that
okay, so Basti just told me to cut him out for a second. So, Jonas, I'm going to explain you the game.
Yeah, okay.
And then we're going to play it. All right, so our quick spell game is basically a big bunch of questions that you should answer in under 90 seconds. So I'm going to put a timer
Oh no.
And I'm going to put a timer. And then I will ask you those questions. So you will always have only one answer for each question. And you can always say that you want to skip the answer. There are, I think, 15 questions in total. And we are going to play this game with every guest we're going to have for the next few podcasts. And we'll eventually figure out who is the winner of our 15 questions game.
Guys, can you actually hear me again?
Yes, we can.
Ah, cool. So I can just do the timer thing for you. So you can just freely read out the questions, I would say. So do we do 60 seconds or 90 seconds? What do you have in mind?
Let's do 90 seconds.
Okay. So I will count you down. And I will count from 3 to 0, okay? And then you can just start.
Okay, are you ready, Jonas?
Yeah.
Okay. So 3, 2, 1, go.
1. Can you strike the activation of Subterra Guru's effect when Final Battle's protection effect is active?
Yes.
2. Who won the title of World Champion in 2014?
I have no clue. Skip.
3. What is the most used side deck card at the Card Market Series in Bologna?
I guess Pancratops?
Correct. 4. Most played deck in Düsseldorf?
Salomon Great.
5. Who is the self-claimed best president of the United States ever?
Donald Trump.
Correct. 6. What is the most in Top Cut represented deck in 2015?
Necros?
Correct. 7. What are the defense points of Danger Jackalope?
2k.
8. What does Pot of Greed do?
Draw 2.
9. First 3 Mallet branches to ever be released.
Scar and Graph Seer.
10. Name a monster that has 2 attributes at the same time.
Dragon of Light and Darkness?
Yeah,
I don't know his
correct.
name.
11. Inventor of the Crossbandless Cup.
Skip.
12. Winner of Euros 2014.
Skip.
13. Recently banned spell card. Name one.
Soul Charge.
14. Who's the winner of the CSL Invitational?
That is the alarm. The time is over.
The winner of the Euros 2014 is your teammate Eugene Haidt, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Euros. Oh, yeah. Damn.
Okay, so I think
didn't
you did
play at that time, so I didn't remember what format it was.
So I think you did really well. Basti, you checked if he was correct or not?
Yeah, let me just quickly count through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 points in total. That's pretty impressive.
Hey, Jonas has 9 points. I'm going to write that down.
Yeah.
On a note which I'm surely going to lose.
But you will be in the test of the other pros that will join us over the next weeks, and we will see whether somebody can top that number of 9 actual correct answers.
Anyways, congratulations. So we have like a few more questions we want to ask you, or let's say topics we want to discuss with you. Basically, what happened in that finals, Jonas?
I think like game 1 was a mistake by Thomas' part, and I think I played game 1 really well, and game 2 was like I couldn't do anything, and I think I should have scooped earlier, and that was what he told me like 10 minutes before time. He said like, yeah, you can just scoop soon, so we get to play game 3 with like more time, with like 5 minutes instead of just 3. And yeah, in game 3, I don't know why I did like decided to do the actions I did, and I'm like, I think I made like 4 to 5 different mistakes. And even after, like, the first mistake obviously was just discarding the Salomon Great Spinny with Twin Twisters, But even after that, I could have attacked. I even if he set Jackalope, I thought about. I thought he was like setting Jackalope, and I just lose to a 2K beater, and even then, I could have won the game because the field spell, the Salamangreat field spell, lets me gain life points.
Yeah.
When a monster battles by targeting a link monster on the field and make his attack 0. So yeah, I made a lot of bad decisions in the final, and yeah, that's why I'm not the winner, but just the second place. But I should not complain because I think he would have won the game 1 if he didn't like screw up as well. So
Yeah, I mean, you shouldn't also like beat yourself up about like making a few mistakes. The pressure in those finals, I can believe,
it's super huge.
really crazy.
Oh yeah. By the way, when the event was over, I went home with my friends and we ate something, went to a restaurant, then I went home and I slept. And then on Monday I wake up and I'm like, oh, what the hell did I do in the final? And I didn't there was when I wake up at like 8 a.m. on Monday, I'm like, yeah, okay. Now let's recap what I could have done differently, and yeah.
But also, it looked like you took it with humor, because I just saw a post from you on Zodiac where you posted your starting hand of the finals and said like, what to do with this starting hand.
Opening hand, what do? Wrong answers only.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like
I think,
a common thing
in the
Zodiac.
finals, I think I choose a good path of wrong answers. So.
But I think that's the best way to handle it, actually, to take it with humor and not to look back in anger on that.
Yeah, but like I just I think this time whenever I lost in the tournament, even in the final, I just made some mistakes, and that's when you lose because you make a mistake, you keep it in mind and don't make the mistake again. So yeah, just try to keep that in mind and not try because you like made a mistake, but try to just get better and don't make the mistake again.
And also, you made so many correct decisions to get to that point to even make that one mistake, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, huge congratulations again. You just did an amazing job. That was, how many YCSs did you top that season already?
This season was like, Utrecht was the first one, so 3.
Yeah. But I mean, that's still a lot.
Yeah, and like it was my. Oh, I don't know how many YCS tops I had, but this was the I was top 4 in London, but this was like the furthest I came in a YCS. So
yeah.
I mean, you can't get that much further, right?
Yeah.
Only maybe one step missing, yeah.
Yeah.
You just need to not lose all the finals, man.
Yeah, that's kind of funny because in the finals of the German nationals, I made a mistake as well and lost because of that. So yeah, I think I should next time I'll do better.
So do you think like if people who are attending tournaments on a regular basis, if they are questioning like how can I beat someone like Jonas Koschel, is the answer definitely to meet you in the finals and then beat you because you're playing that?
I think it's a hard question because I think in the finals I was playing against some really good players because I played Thomas Rose and Typhoon, and I think there was a little bit more pressure than just if I played someone else. I don't think maybe I did something better then. Like, I don't know. Maybe it was the pressure and because like I know the people I was playing in the finals and they were really cool guys. So I don't mind losing to them.
Thomas Rose and Typhoon are sweethearts.
Yeah.
We all know that. Like, what do you say about the Worlds race? I think it should be pretty clear that you are one of the top 8 now, as you were 9th, like, for most of the time. Do you think that you can beat the other top 8 in the playoff at Euros?
It's gonna be tough. I'll try to, but I only played like maybe 2 of the guys in the top 8 in the last months, and I played against Rafael and Evan twice, and I lost twice. So it's gonna be a hard tournament. Like the top 8 will be full of good players, so it's gonna be even harder than just topping like big events, because only the good like the really, really good players are gonna be in the top 8.
Yeah, that is
it
true.
will be a high pressure situation for everybody there.
Yeah, but just getting to the top 8, I mean, it's not safe by now because there's still nationals, but I'm pretty sure I can get a spot in the top 8. So
yeah, I think you can dominate the nationals as well, and maybe this time you won't screw it up in the finals.
Yeah, I'll try.
And also, all the other players in the top 8 player will be like, Jonas Koschel is a big sweat as well. So it's not like you're going into the tournament and as like all the other good guys. They also like, Jonas is a very good player, you know?
Yeah.
So you're not the rogue.
I don't think you should be too scared.
Sebastian, would you mind fixing your microphone or your internet connection or something? Okay, so I think we should get to our last topic, which would be counter traps, but for that we would need Sebastian actually. So let's just try and talk a bit more.
I try.
Or are you set, Basti?
Doesn't sound like he is.
No, it really doesn't, right?
No.
So there are some regionals coming up.
Hear me, guys?
Yeah, but you're lagging. You're a robo, Sebastian. There are some regionals coming up soon. Do you think that everyone is going to play like Salomon Grade, or do you have like, how do you approach like regionals? I mean, you're playing a lot of them and you're winning a lot of them. Do you like pick the deck that you think is best and always play it, or do you change up the deck so you become kind of unpredictable? What is your approach there?
When I go to a regional, I just
Can you hear me?
No, not really.
Robo Sebastian. When I go to a regional, I just I know so many people around there and like the good players, and I just try to get a feeling for like what everyone else is playing, and maybe prepare a little bit more in the side deck or even the main deck for the decks I'm gonna be expect at the regional, because regionals are just like local, and it really depends on the decks people are bringing from that area. Yeah, and I try to test out some decks. That's what I did with Salomon Grades when they came out. I just played 2 tournaments on the weekend before, like the weekend after they were released. So and it did really well for me. So that's why I think that's what helped me to decide what to play for Düsseldorf as well.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Well, we are really coming to an end here soon. I'm asking Sebastian if you can send me like the questions. Because like our last topic would be called counter traps.
Can you guys hear me again now?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, clear.
And now you're not saying anything, or?
Do you hear me now? Because
Yeah.
that was a little. Oh, cool. Because I said that like 20 seconds ago, and now you reacted.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So
but now you can hear me. Perfect.
Yes.
I'm just going to explain the counter trap section now, and then you can ask the questions. So we are asking you some questions, not specifically Yu-Gi-Oh related, Jonas. Kind of private sometimes, and you can answer them. You don't have to, obviously, and we won't respond to them at all. So these are basically the counter trap questions that we can't respond to because they are spell speed 3.
Yeah.
All right, Sebastian, are you ready?
Yeah, we have 10 questions. I will just start with number 1. So, do you think?
Oh no. I think he's gone again.
He will make a mistake like you did in the final.
Okay, let's just wait out until Sebastian's voice or Skype has died and he's not talking like a robot. And then I'm going to ask you the questions because we're not getting that far with this. Okay. Okay, he just also told me that I should do it. All right. So the first question, Jonas, which I'm going to ask you is, you kind of already answered it, that will you make a mistake like that in the finals again?
I hope I will not, but I can't really predict what I'm doing for the finals, and I have to get to the finals again. So I'm gonna try to not make at least not make the same mistakes again.
Okay. Question number 2: do you regret switching teams from Team Trend to Team E-Man?
Nah, not really, because with a sad feeling, but like there's still all the guys from Trend are one of my closest friends, and I think the team, like the E-Man team and all the people in here, they helped me a lot getting at this level I'm right now and getting this far in all the tournaments I attend. Düsseldorf was actually one of the YCSs where I attended with a deck I built myself, like just myself and Joshua as well. But usually I'm like trying to get help from other people and try to like pick up their deck list and then change it up a little bit to my so I feel like I've just put in some decks card choices and different ideas. So yeah, but I think they're helping me so much, and I wouldn't get this far without my team right now.
All right. Do you think you will ever finally get a title?
I hope so. So yeah, I'm gonna try to get one. It's almost the same answer to the first question, but at some point I think I'll be in the finals again, and I hope I just win then and not fuck up again.
Yeah, I have faith in you. So, question number 4: what is your favorite deck ever?
That's hard, like, because one of my favorite decks is probably Black Wings, because that's the deck I started playing with. Started playing with when I was a kid. But when it comes to the playstyle, I really like the Metal Foe deck, and I really like playing that deck. But like Black Wings is my favorite, probably.
Okay, so question number 5. What do you think is the worst attribute that a Yu-Gi-Oh player has, and what can you do to like do something against it? You don't have to call like names or something.
No, not gonna do that. But like, it's, I don't know. I think it's hard to find like one attribute because there's so many different people in the game and so many different people, and everyone has like a small trait, and so like small things you could change, but I don't think there's like one big thing all the Yu-Gi-Oh players should change. But like, I don't think there's one thing you can say to every Yu-Gi-Oh player.
No, I mean like a potential trait that a player can have.
Maybe like that's what I witness a lot of the time. When people lose, they get upset, and then they are like, yeah, you can get sad, and I mean, I'm sad that I lost and that I fucked up, but I don't think that's the way you should approach when you lose, because it's still a card game. You can't always draw the nuts, and you can't always win. So I think if you just try harder, and the next time you might just then win and learn from your mistakes, and
Very
not blame
nice.
like other people or like I bricked and that's how I lost. I'm pretty sure everyone could make like different decisions and then win the game. And yeah.
All right. So, question number 6: what is the most money you ever spent on a single card?
Oof. Actually, I don't know. I think maybe like 80 euros.
What card was that? Do you know it?
I don't know. Maybe like 70. Oh, maybe 75, 80 euros when Impermanence came out.
Yeah.
But I don't really. I don't remember when what was like the most expensive card I ever bought. But I remember when I was a kid, I bought like some Synchro Monster, like just a random Synchro Monster for 15 euros, and that was hella expensive for me.
Oh yeah, I remember also buying a Bryonic back in the days for 35, and like my parents killed me for that.
Yeah, and my like the first really expensive card I bought was Exeter Knight.
Oh yeah. Okay, so moving on to question number 7, easy question, or an easier question. What is your favorite YCS location?
Yeah, Bochum. That's an easy answer.
Yeah, I thought so.
It's like that's where I live, and that's why I love the location, because it's just in my city. I mean, I don't think it's big enough for next YCSs, because even Düsseldorf wasn't big enough. So I don't know if they will make another YCS Bochum, but maybe
nationals.
Yeah, maybe nationals. Yeah. I'd love that, because I think it's I think Bochum and the area around Bochum, Düsseldorf, Cologne is super easy to get to. So I think this is a great location, just the area in Germany, because so many people are just attending because it's Germany and it's easy to get here.
That is true. Okay, so we're getting closer to the end. What do you think? Who's the player that gets the most attention from Team E-Man Games right now?
How do you like? In what way? What do you mean?
Like maybe the most media presence of like possibly like media like is a Zodiac Duelist, or maybe the E-Man Instagram account.
I don't know. I think it depends. If someone is doing well, they will try to post something and post a deck list, post deck profiles, and most of the time Joshua is like, because he's one of the biggest names in Yu-Gi-Oh, he gets a lot of attention. So
yeah, sounds about right. Okay, question number 9. Since your first YCS top, can you even save yourself from women? Unfortunately,
there are not that many women at Yu-Gi-Oh events, so they don't like. When I talk to my non-Yu-Gi-Oh friends, they find it cool because that I'm doing so well at my hobby, but it's like not something you can try to impress a woman with, I believe.
I strongly disagree. Anyways, question number 10. Do you have any final shout-outs?
Yeah, of course, to you guys, to Leonard and Robo Sebastian, and of course my team and like friends, my friends and my family. So that's about it.
All right, so we are at the end of our podcast. Like, sadly, we lost Sebastian in the process. Before we end this, I'm going to tell you guys that this will be on YouTube eventually. So if you guys like the podcast, feel free to tell your friends and maybe like show them the link so they can make their own opinion about the stream and about the podcast, so that we can have like more and more viewers. And like, we are going to feature more well-known players in this podcast. We're also going to feature like YouTubers already talked to, for example, Lithium.